Warning, this video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and we got a few things to say today. I don't think we need an introduction. It's Friday. We're going to put our feet up, chill a little bit. First of all, we're almost at 15k, so please do hit that subscribe button if you are not already. Second of all, I see a bunch of FUD going around. I see Germany's government has seized some Bitcoin, and oh no, they're going to dump, right? But as Christian points out here, okay, take a look at this. It's literally the exact same playbook, just a year later. Back here, March of 2023, we saw that there was more of this FUD where the US government had seized roughly 50,000 Bitcoins from the Silk Road and that it was going to unload them and dump them all on the market. These headlines happened to mark the exact cycle low right before we went from 19k to 31k Bitcoin. And today, we've just got the exact same thing. And people always forget, okay, it's easy to read a headline and say, oh, that's a lot of Bitcoin, right? It's a lot compared to what we hold, for sure. But in the scheme of things, okay, people are panicking here because the German government is selling $3 billion worth of Bitcoin. But it's a $1.3 trillion asset class by market cap with 22 billion in volume. So this is nothing, okay? And it's kind of the same with the Mt. Gox FUD. We see Tether FUD come up every now and then. And I've made videos going into all of that stuff. I don't need to repeat that. You can just either search for Mt. Gox on my channel or Tether on my channel, and you can see there's it's all just the same stuff over and over again. And once you've seen it, once you've been here long enough, then you see it and you just roll your eyes and move on. But obviously if you're brand new to the space, then it can be a little jarring, and that's all this really is, in my humble opinion. Like I said, $3 billion is a lot of money, right? But not relative to a $1.3 trillion market cap and 22 billion in volume. Having seen Michael Saylor just buy about a third of that, okay, a little under a third, I mean, I don't think it's worth worrying about. And it would be pretty interesting to me, at least, if this is just cycle lows doing cycle low things. As we know, as we pointed out, right? This was right into a cycle low. Where are we today? For Bitcoin, right into that cycle low, right? So if we find it in the next few sessions and come swinging out of here, then we'll be able to look back at this and say, that's just Bitcoin doing Bitcoin things, cycle lows doing cycle low things, and the same pieces of FUD are recycled over and over again, ultimately because they do work. They do work. So keeping a close eye on that. I left myself this here just because a bunch of members keep asking me, Camel, you keep forgetting about XRP, you keep forgetting about XRP. If I don't want to cover your chart, I'll just tell you I don't want to cover it. But if I say I will and I don't, it's literally just because I've forgotten. So I've left myself here for no other reason than to say sorry to the members that I keep forgetting to cover this chart. I've been meaning to go over it, but at the same time, as you can see, absolutely nothing has happened. So this is what XRP does. It's essentially it's essentially a stable coin. At some point, I'm hoping it pumps, and that is the reason for the long. But will we get it or won't we? I don't know. It kind of broke out of this wedge, but as you can see, it just kind of went sideways out of there. So I don't know. We'll see. But I first of all apologize for telling you I was going to cover it every day for about 2 weeks and then just forgetting every single session. And also, as you can see, we are trading right around the entry price. And how many months ago was this? This is quite a long time. Yeah, over 2 months ago. So that's why I've been sleeping on it, because frankly it's really boring. But as you can see, what am I supposed to say about that, right? It's just gone sideways. Hopefully it pumps. If not, stops there for a reason. Risk is managed as always. Getting into what I would consider to be more important charts, okay? The current Bitcoin range versus ETH in 2020. Let's make this a bit bigger. So here's ETH, okay? One of these, range, little box, line underneath, one of these, back test, go. What have we got today? One of these, box, little range, line underneath, one of these, back test. Are we ready? Are we ready to go? And if you ask me, sentiment right now is pretty bad. I think most people are probably not expecting this. I see a lot of people calling tops, a lot of people saying this is what comes next. And maybe they're right. The cycles do project a little bit more downside. But inarguably, if we were to do this, we would just be able to look at this and say, well, we've seen that before, right? So that is what it is. Cred here is suggesting kind of a similar thing. He thinks there's only so much more time we can compress here for Bitcoin. If this is indeed our bottom, we should be seeing a breakout occur within the next 24 to 48 hours maximum. If we were to break down from here, we'd find ourselves in that dream long zone, his words, not mine, and the most probabilistic place for a full-on reversal to form if we manage to get it there. So are we going to see compression like this and off we go? Again, I don't think many people would be expecting that. Maybe I'm biased. And if we were to compress here and break down, then this is Cred's dream long zone, somewhere between, I think it's about 60k and 63.5k, somewhere in that neighborhood where Cred is expecting this. I have to say that either one of these is permitted by cycles, but on a balance of probability, since the cycle low is down, I kind of would be expecting this a little bit more just based on where that cycle is. So anyway, we're not too far away. That's the good news. Of course, the question becomes, once we find that cycle low, do we do Bitcoin things? Or do we roll over and have to take the left translation off the table? We're going to find out soon enough. I think we are going to come out of here swinging. I really do. But, it doesn't matter what I think. What matters is what the price does. Really interesting chart here from T. Either it's August 2021 again, or this cycle is something different. So here's the breadth Momo for crypto. You can see one of these. What happened shortly thereafter was a snapback in the other direction. And that corresponded with what? That corresponded with this for total minus the stable coins. And as I'm sure you can already tell, at the hard right edge, we've got this. So the question becomes, do we see a snapback out of this cycle low, something like this? And does that correspond with something like this? I'll let you be the judge of that one. Meanwhile, we had some jobs data yesterday, and the job openings just keep falling off a cliff. So things just seem to be getting worse. It seems more and more likely that we are going to see a recession. You can see plunge, recession, rollover, recession, plunge, recession. And at the hard right edge, okay, telling us to keep an open mind, I think, about seeing a recession. I'm mostly going to save this stuff for the weekend's deep dive tomorrow. But again, initial jobless claims, okay, and here's the key one. The Philly Fed Business Index came in at just 1.3 versus the 5 estimate and the 4.5 from the previous. So the economy is slowing down. Like things are not really getting better despite the stock market keep going vertical. I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier on, but Michael Saylor has bought just under a third of the German government's Bitcoin. So pretty wild. They're now holding 226,331 Bitcoin that has cost them about $8 billion at an average price of 36k. So that's a big stack, right? That is a big stack. And I also found this. I thought I'd bring this up before we go into some charts, okay? Because have a look at Nvidia at the bottom relative to this tulip mania, this tulip bubble. You can see it's got all the same characteristics, this slow, steady lead-in phase, right? The first sell-off, bear trap. And then from there, we just go straight into a parabolic blow off top that ultimately results in a bubble pop. So is this coming in the not too distant future? I think it probably is. And I think this is one of the biggest risks, okay? Now, I'm by no means saying it's time to short Nvidia. I keep saying the same thing over and over again. Don't try to jump in front of any trains, because this thing could certainly go way, way, way higher than anyone can comprehend. But at some point, it may well roll over. At some point, it makes sense that it does roll over. And given that this is essentially carrying the indexes on its back, then doesn't it only make sense that if we do see some kind of rollover, whether it's soon or whether it's from way higher up, eventually when we do, okay, it's probably going to be pretty tough going for the stocks. I also think the question we need to be asking ourselves is, what does Bitcoin do if and when we see a tech sell-off like this? What if we do get some kind of final squeeze followed by this? What does Bitcoin do in that situation? I do think that's a question we need to ask ourselves. My intuition and experience tells me Bitcoin will probably do something similar. So that's why I'm very much leaning on the idea that we need to come out of here swinging and set a third angle. Because like I've been saying over and over again, from a 4-year cycle perspective, and what Bob was saying was he thinks this is most likely, and that sets up a nice right translated cycle. And from a cycle perspective, that's true. But what if we do this, okay, and then Nvidia bubble pops, the Nasdaq, the S&P, everything else comes crashing down. We go risk off, big strong dollar. Does Bitcoin do this in the face of that? I'm not convinced. So I really think we all should be championing for this. Whether you like Bitcoin or not, whether you care about left translation or not, whether you're just all in on altcoins, really Bitcoin is the tide that lifts all crypto boats. So I really think we should be championing this. I've got some reasons for thinking that this is probably the most likely. I'm not convinced Bob is going to get this personally, but as always, right, both of us are just coming up with our base case ideas. We're just looking at the charts and using our experience to try to figure out what's going on. And really, neither one of us has a clue. That's the absolute truth. So either way, we're going to find out soon enough. For me, I really need to see this, or I think something is wrong. I can't get away from that fact. And I've been so bullish, right? Keep in mind, down here, I was screaming all-time high before the halving. And I've been screaming that since the lows, okay? My long-time followers know that. But I just don't... it's difficult for me to say this is what comes next, right? By the time we're in here, like I said, I think we're going to be in for some tough times. Now, I suppose one caveat to this is if Bitcoin does this, and the stock market stops going vertical, right? If the stock market, whilst Bitcoin is putting in that second 60-day consolidation cycle, if this kind of trades down here somewhere or is doing this, then I think there's maybe space to see Bitcoin go up to a right translated cycle, and then maybe we can entertain that this whole July-August time frame is completely wrong. But in this neighborhood, okay, we're expecting to see a half cycle low. I think we're on day, what's this? Today will be day 14, so into day 20-ish will be a half cycle low shakeout. It makes me wonder if we see maybe this half cycle low go, and then, you know, we've got a third angle, maybe even a fourth angle coming in at some point. And again, I say to you, if this is what plays out, okay, daily cycle low in this time window, which is early August, maybe one final squeeze, breakdown, left translated cycle for the weekly. I mean, you know, if we do something like this, how is it that Bitcoin does well? I really wish, you got to understand, I wish it would be the ultimate risk off asset. I wish I could rotate all of my stock money and stuff into Bitcoin and then watch it go on to multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars, top in month 35 or 36, 12-month bear market. That's so easy to deal with. But unfortunately, I cannot get away from the fact that we seem to be staring right down the barrel of a recession. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt is still really, really high. And this is still, objectively speaking, a third angle unless it breaks down very, very rapidly. So anyway, I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to deal with. There's nothing easy about it, but we'll figure it out, I'm sure. It's exactly the same deal for the NASDAQ, right? The Dow Jones back into breakout and possibly retested this red support. I don't know if I want to cheat this line one more time or if I want to leave it here. I'm going to leave it here for now, but I might be open to cheating it one final time. Russell 2K still hanging around. So is it going to go or not? That's to be determined. Gold is breaking out against its weekly cycle. The weekly cycle is down, but that is objectively speaking a breakout. So watching for a reversal here. The weekly cycle count says that it is risky to be long here. So we're going to find out. I suspect maybe we get something like this, weekly cycle low, and go. That would be nice. And silver perhaps going to lead this, right? Is that a fake breakout rejection? Are we going to see this into that weekly cycle low and go? That would make perfect sense. And the dollar, of course, still holding support. So a wild time to be alive. Yields look like they want lower. If you know, you know. But at least for now, okay, everything's still kind of operating in the realm of expectation. Like I said, third angle expected to come in. It seems to be there, at least for now. We haven't lost it yet. And again, I'm here to say the only missing component for me is Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin can indeed find a cycle low and go, then absolutely everything is going as expected. But like I said a million times already, roll over from here. We have to take this left translation off the table. And all of a sudden, okay, I think we've got a world of pain for Bitcoin. So cautiously optimistic here. Please do come back tomorrow for the weekend deep dive. And of course, if you're a level 3 member, look out for that. I'm also going to be doing a podcast with Cobra Stacker and CPM. That will be out on Sunday. So look out for that. I'll post it in the community tab or something. Other than that, I hope you are doing well in life. I really, really hope you have a fantastic weekend. And until next time, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.
Let's rationalize rapid shoplifting. Make skin color a perk. Blocking all streets for climate change. People can't get to work. Endorse mostly peaceful protests, expecting shops to stay.